my shirt looks black.
Yours is a darker blue.
Is it?
I would argue mine is a violet.
Okay.
Like a deep violet. Deep violet. It's
Okay,
it's
and
got
this
a
is like
hint
navy,
of purple.
like a dark
so
navy.
therefore on camera,
Okay.
I think it pops with the blue a little
I'm
more.
glad there's a TV below the camera. That's why I always look down here. I've been very disturbed by this every time we go to the wide. I'm changing my top.
Look, I think the audience would appreciate that. I don't know where to look. Suddenly we're a different... There you go. I was like, what the hell is this shot? Let's cut to a new one. Let's cut to Pulse and Rusty in the Makers Champs left.
Amazing, amazing. And it's also interesting because Bryce's trousers are also blue.
Yeah,
but
well,
they look black as well.
I mean, his trousers that don't actually exist in the camera shot. So you'll see it next time he sits down, but he's just like, he only has a waist-up shot because the black doesn't exist.
Yep,
it's an abyss.
True. It's true. You're looking dapper today. How are you
I'm
doing?
an archaeological teacher.
You are.
I could be a
Is
Jurassic
that what
Park
Twitter
tour
said to you?
guide. No, that was what one of the producers said to me. No,
It's accurate.
Look, I'm excited to get into this first game.
Me too.
I'm
This
very
is the
excited.
final day of the Gauntlet, Rusty.
Yeah, we've got the Mud Flingers against the Blood Flingers. Mammoth first order. Mammoth with a point to prove coming in cold, like mentioned from the couch. Order with the hot-to-trot gameplay. We need to see how Mammoth adapts to that, as they do have a lot of sample size, a lot of time spent watching them to see exactly what they should be doing. And, you know, to me, the first thing is always pick ban. Like, what have they learned through the last 2 days in the last 8 games that they have seen through this pick ban?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what the couch was saying, right? Like, do you adapt to what Order are doing, or do you play your own game? It feels like teams have been maybe trying too hard to adapt to what Order are bringing to the table. And right now, you know, results will speak louder than anything else. And Order have managed to take down the Direwolves and Bombers in the Gauntlet, coming out from 5th seed. This is now 2nd seed Mammoth, so... We'll see what the teams have for us today, because you'll take a look at the bans, and remarkably similar to yesterday here into Order, it will be Kiana, the Gangplank, and the Morgana banned here.
Yeah, so the first thing for me is, like, you've got your standard bans like you're talking about. The Morgana ban is a very good reaction to a Tahm Kench ban, in my opinion anyway. You know, Jake does love defaulting to his Morgana. When it comes to the best of 5s, it's a good ban that is now forced. Order, on the flip side, have chosen to ban the Xayah away from Mammoth. Again, one of their signature bot lane duos. With the Morgana gone, you would expect maybe that's what they look at. But I see this as Morgana might be their option to Xayah Rakan. It's banned, so they ban the Xayah to not even trade champions. They don't want to trade the Xayah and the Rakan to opposite sides. They just want to pick a good bot lane for themselves. And, you know, Kai'Sa, Nautilus, etc. are always going to be viable choices.
For sure. First pick, Yuumi coming in from Mammoth. And see what they'll pair that with. There's a lot of good options to pair with this Yuumi here, but
yeah,
big priority. And I want to see if this is actually locked in, because obviously Karthus has had an amazing game every single time Spooks picks it up here in the Gauntlet. Both games have been Karthus essentially just one-shotting people with Requiem, so we'll see if we can recreate that here today.
If there's one thing I've learned from Spooks playing jungle at the moment, it's if he doesn't die in the early game, they will not win the game. So picking that Karthus, a champion that's designed to die, and doesn't matter if he dies early, he's still going to be Karthus. I like this rewarder so far. And they've immediately gone with the Lucian with it. So they've got some mixed damage there, physical and magic. Most likely going to be an 80 carry Lucian, however, so keep that in mind. We shouldn't see that flex to mid or top lane. I think if anywhere, it's actually going to go to top lane as a flex, but that should be Dream's pick.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Lucian taken away, and also a nice pick alongside Yuumi, so also denied. And it will be an Ezreal coming in quite early here from Mammoth. Along with the Aatrox pick as well for one of those solo lanes, likely Fudge, who is also playing today, worth mentioning here for Mammoth.
Yeah, a lot of similarities to yesterday's draft currently at the moment from Mammoth. You know, ban the Gangplank, you can pick the Aatrox. It's one of those things where Gangplank has really risen amongst the ranks in top lane as one of the best picks, particularly into the Aatrox. And a good Aatrox player just wants to be able to get through that early stages of the game, you know, get maybe level 6, maybe get your first recall for some good purchases, and then you start to become relevant. As Order have thrown the first curveball, I would say, of this series already.
Well, that's actually locked in. Volibear comes out here from Order. Yeah, we'll see what lane that will go into, and whether it will be like Volibear support, Volibear, top lane Volibear, jungle.
If that is somewhere other than support, that is the biggest surprise of the year from Order, and they've pulled out some curveballs.
They have, and it seems like their bucket of different picks just doesn't end. You know, we're now into our 3rd best of 5 with Order over the Gauntlet, and this is still a new pick coming out from them. You know, where does it end? I don't know. We've got Nocturne. We banned here towards Mammoth, and it will be Renekton as well.
Yeah, Renekton taken off the board. Maybe we see a Nico or a Kennen looked at as well. I don't necessarily think we'll see the Nico coming out from Order unless it's the full AD, the Shy spec crit build. I'm curious to see where they go for, perhaps a physical damage top laner to once again enable Swiffle to play whatever he wants. But he also has, say, the Twisted Fate as an option, you know, and they may even hold their solo lane for mid till last pick.
Hope you don't also follow in the the KDA of the Shy necessarily. That's going to be a Kindred ban here towards Mammoth. And looking towards this final ban now, it will be Jace. Okay, looking once again at those solo lanes. But we've already seen a bunch of picks that Order have been very happy to play so far in the Gauntlet. So, lots still left open for them.
Dream currently hovering one of his own champions. We have to wait and see where they choose to go with their 4th pick. You'd love to see a flex pick between solo laners. That's few and far between. The likes of Aurelia exist, but they've got a Karthus, so it's the least likely option, really. As right now, they've gone tried and true for Tally again. They're going to lock in that Victor. And that's something that, looked very confident from Order yesterday when they were playing the pick. And, Jimmy Tally had one of the best games of the Gauntlet during that one. Quiet performance for himself, but quietly overachieving.
Absolutely. It all came down to focusing out the AD carry, but then Victor was just blowing up everybody with the Chaos Storm. So a big secondary threat as you get later on into the game. Mammoth are going to pick up the Karma for themselves here as well. Yumi already picked up. This will be a solo lane coming in here.
Yeah, and I feel like Fudge playing means that should just be triples Karma and the Aatrox goes top lane. As we await what is going to be picked in the jungle, and the question, I guess, is that an Aatrox jungle is the only remaining thing we have to look at here. Not likely, very much unlikely, as there we go.
Yeah, will be Skarner for the jungle. So nothing too crazy coming out here from Mammoth. It's really just, it feels like a stock standard Mammoth composition coming through. Order back over them looking for their final pick. And it should be, we have Jungle Karthus with, assuming support Volleyband, then it should be a mid laner.
Mid laner into Karma. There you go.
Twist of Fate once again. I believe this is the 3rd Twist of Fate we've seen this split. And yeah, the 2nd one in the Gauntlet here for Swiffer.
Yeah, and this one was pretty easy to call as well for the likes of Swiffer when you look at mid lane pool and the fact that they went for a 4th pick in Victor. So I even feel like, from Mammoth's point of view, they see the Victor locked in. They said, this is Tally's champion, so they need a physical damage mid laner. And Karma just came up as like well, I don't think there is a physical damage champion they can now pick that beats this. If it's a Twisted Fate, we push better than it does, especially because it goes AD. If it's a Talon, well, it's just a Talon, so we have a good time on Summoner's Rift, right? So right now, I feel like Mammoth should be pretty comfortable with their draft in general. Confident champions, comfortable champions for themselves, and that's a big thing that you would expect to see coming into game 1 of a best of 5. You know what to expect from Order. You've seen it 8 games in a row. What you don't know, if you are Mammoth, is what you're going to get from yourself. So you pick things that make sense to you, things that you know, those quantities that you already are aware of, so that you can just focus on how you're playing the map, not how you're playing on a micro level. That should come naturally.
Yeah, getting into this first game now, 4 compositions in, and it will be Volibear support into the bottom lane. And yeah, we're now in day 3 of the Gauntlet. Order taking down both the Direwolves and the Bombers. Crazy, considering how the whole split went in regular season, but here we are.
Yeah, we're 5th seed against 2nd seed right now, Mammoth, on an absolute tear in the 2nd split, and really starting to be the rising stars between splits.
Yeah, and as we get into game, we have Fantix joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
All right, so were you expecting this result? Were you expecting to face Order here today?
Honestly, I wasn't actually. I thought, I thought we'd be facing Bombers today. I think Order have prepared very well against both the teams, and I think, yeah, I mean they've got crazy momentum coming over. I'm just really excited to see how this plays out.
So you said perhaps it was the preparation for them. Is that
it
all?
could be. I mean, they are a team that had nothing to lose. So and that is something scary to play against. When you just you barely clinch the playoff spot. You're the underdogs by most people's ratings.
Yeah.
Then yeah, they can just play some fearsome League of Legends without really giving a care.
And what does that mean for you guys as Mammoth? You would not be considered the underdogs coming into this one. You would be considered the favorites.
Yeah. But the thing is now is that now that they made it this far, it's almost as if they aren't the underdogs anymore in a sense. No one expected them to beat both those teams so handily. So that I think that's a good thing for us, because it's not we're the ones that are pressured to play like we're expected to play.
They
or
have the
anything.
pressure to
Yeah.
run the
They also
gauntlet,
have
yeah.
pressure. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and coming into the day, we kind of had the conversation. It felt like teams were adapting too hard to Order, and then they really only played their games in like the last one or last two games. Like, how are you going to approach your match into Order now that you know they're playing here today?
I think what we're going to do differently to both Dials and Bombers is we're just going to be a lot more rigid with like what we think they're good at. We're not going to give them what like their best shots at winning, and I think we have a better read on what like how they're actually winning these games. Like we got to watch like the last like 8 games.
Yeah, a lot of
they
footage.
played. Yeah, it's a lot of information. That yeah, unfortunately, fourth and third seed didn't have the luxury of getting. Yeah.
And one last thing for me as well is Fudge is going to be the starting top laner today. Of course, his first split in the OPL. Is this a case of, you want to get him on and see if the nerves affect him in a Gauntlet game? Or
I think it's mostly just stylistically. Like, we just think it's the best chance of us winning this game against Order. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time,
Thank
and
you very
best
much.
of luck.
sometimes it is just that simple, of course. It's always good to find out exactly what is going on in the camp as to why a player starts. Topoon's also had a very good split for himself, so don't be surprised to see Mammoth actually sub out their top lane and win or lose through this set. Having been in the Gauntlet last split coaching a team, there was one thing that I noticed for certain, having a sub in the jungle role, was the hunger, the desire to get out there and win. If your team loses, you want to prove a point, right? If your team wins, you want to prove that you're just as good as the person who's playing in that game when they won. So that desire comes across and is like a real motivator for any player that has to watch their team play. And that feeling of helplessness is horrible. You want to, do the most that you can.
Yeah, there's also the angle of strategical advantage as well, right? Like we saw on day one with Dire Wars. Curtis was talking about like how you basically get a player who gets to see God vision and see the entire game unfold before the rise, and then come in game 2, game 3 with a fresh perspective, or something that the rest of the players wouldn't have seen. So there's also multiple angles to that, and it's cool to see that multiple teams now are using their subs and seeing if they can. Make it happen.
Not a lot happened during the interview as well, Pulse. No real action to be seen. Slight advantage at the moment in the way of gold for Order, but that's to be expected with a Klepto user in the top lane and a Karthus who wants to just hard farm the jungle. Skarner also one of those uniquely equipped champions to deal with a Karthus. He's actually one of the fastest clearing tank champions that runs around on the Rift, and especially once you have the control of that Spire, it also means that, if there is ever a Spire, a Karthus can't duel you. You just do too much damage and you get onto him too quickly, so a lot of respect has to actually be given.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out, and this is now the third Karthus game that we're seeing, so it seems like Karthus just managed to get his hands on a bunch of kills early. Last time it seemed like the magic came from just dying to Wolf Camp. We'll see what Spooks will do this game, because he is ganking top lane.
I don't
or
know
at least he's pushing the lane. Maybe
yeah,
that's
he's just going to push the wave in.
more accurate to say.
I want to say being experience hungry. But at the same time, it does force the wave in, and it's clear that Tally wants to get a reset. 37 CS is not a significant amount of gold, but it will be enough to get his first purchase, though I doubt that would be the... Oh, he actually did get the upgraded Hex core.
Yeah,
I wonder if he's running Futures Market.
Oh, and he's gone into debt? Yeah, with Klepto. Yeah, good chance.
He's got cookies, so it's unlikely, but he also doesn't have a stopwatch, and we'll find out once he gets boots.
Yeah, because that's suspicious. But still, yeah, with the early upgrade. Babbit making his way towards the bottom river here, looking towards bottom lane. It is Volibear, which is pretty difficult to dive, to be honest. His heal below 30% is very significant.
Yeah, there's no Ignite either for Destiny.
Yep.
And for the bot lane of Mammoth, there is no Ignite on the map, actually, for the side of Mammoth. So Healing Cut being purchased is something that you would expect to see from them. One consideration within that point, however, is who purchases the Healing Cut. As you've got an Ezreal that needs to get the tier, needs to get the Manamune up as fast as possible. He'll get it eventually if he's going to go the full AD build, which is expected on 9.16, given that the AP Ezreal variant got nerfed. But that means you can't get it early. So there is actually a chance that, if Order look for those trades, they get even trades off. There's going to be a Vamp Sept illusion and a passive on a Volibear that can sustain quite nicely in that 2v2.
In those all-in situations, quite difficult to beat down. Top lane, Tali's going to be pushing past his minion wave. Yeah, Fudge actually doesn't have a ton of information here, so he literally doesn't know if the jungle is just there. So you can make that maneuver as Victor. Also get a pretty good placement on that wave now that he's stalled it out, so his wave will just crash now.
Fudge also
Fudge
very
does stick
due
around.
for a base. He's actually popped his potion to stay here, so maybe just wants to get a chunk onto Tally before the teleport back to lane. We'll see how he chooses to play this one out, as that's definitely not the case. Twisted Fate says hello and has found someone.
Oh yeah, he's on his way to the bottom lane. That's a straight up first blood here for Dream.
A wandering Destiny has been spotted in the river. No chance to reconnect or attach to the Ezreal at all. And Order, the first movement on the map is just first blood secured for them against Mammoth, and that's next to the Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, straight into Mountain first, and Lady looking shining on Order today. We'll see what the second dragon will be, because now in 8 games it's always been Cloud. So we'll see if they can combo break this one.
Order with
Babip.
the lead, always a Cloud. It's an Infernal this time.
Hey,
though.
there it is. Babip looking towards the top lane with triple. Instant teleport here from Swiffer. It's going to be the suppress, though, onto Tani. He's low. Here comes the Reckoning as well. Low health on the Skarner. And he just gets away here, Tani, and the kill onto Carpet.
And Swiffer is not a mid laner anymore. He ults bot lane, gets the first blood, does the dragon with spooks, recalls it, teleports to top lane, and just immediately influences the play as well. And Mammoth in a 3-man dive don't actually have the opportunity to respect the Karthus ultimate, the Twisted Fate map mobility, and suddenly it's 0-2 and almost a 2,000 gold lead.
And here we are again. Carthus just absorbing kills in the early game. And getting to that point where he's just a nasty threat to deal with. Yeah, 2 kills to start off the game with a Mountain. Order really kicking this one off quickly. You know, Mammoth, if we're taking a look at them stylistically, you know, through the split for people who maybe haven't seen a lot of Mammoth, very much a team who does well absorbing teams, you know? Like you would get to mid-game and Mammoth, even if they're 4K down, we've seen a lot of games like that, and they'll just always get that one late-game team fight, and they'll just turn it around.
And it's interesting with Mammoth and Bombers, they were always akin to the sword and the shield. They set it themselves, which is why it's very apt to make that comparison. Mammoth, they'll deal with the blows, they'll scale late game, they'll have the late game team fights. But we have to take into consideration the composition they've gone for this time. It's a Karma in mid lane, who I would expect will go the full nuke build after that Athene's, but may just go for the early spiking support build, which does get outscaled. You know, may not be able to handle the 1-3-1 that could eventually come out from the side of Order, with Swiffer going for the Trinity Force build. So there's that consideration. And I mean, Ezreal is probably going to be the biggest, you know, key factor as to do they have a late game? Is scaling an option for them? And so far, so good for him. You know, he's just been casually farming, getting as much gold as he can. But at a certain point, you do get worried for a Victor, for a Karthus, and for a Twisted Fate split push and influencing side lanes to come online.
Yeah, now we're in Gauntlet, you know, very vocally, Mammoth was saying that they wanted to work on their early game specifically, because this was still, like, consistently a top 2, top 1 team for the longest time in the split, you know, consistently from the start, as Babip is once again looking towards top lane. Will flash the Gravity Field, looking for the stun, gets the chains, and this time it is a clean kill into the top lane.
And that was very important from Mammoth. They go against the grain here. They get an opportunity where Tally does not have the flash available, so the repeat offense in the top lane is successful. You can see that Spooks and Jake are on the opposite side of the map, and Babip continuing to make moves on the top side jungle, has started off the Rift Herald as it spawns at 10 minutes. Seems like it's just not going to be contested because Order, they have their sights set on the bot lane outer.
Waiting for this setup. Volibear has just disappeared from lane though, so
Something is fishy.
something is fishy. Yeah, Yuumi and Ezreal had gone back to base, so it's going to take a long time for them to come here, so they will just get the plate damage.
Ezreal no ult. Yuumi does have ult, however, if they choose to contest this and Yuumi gets onto the wave, can actually clear the wave with all of the waves. It's very unlikely, and right now I don't think Mammoth want to make 2 plays at the same time. They're going to put all of their focus towards the top lane outer turret. Triple even hovering the area pulse, and that should actually just be a whole chunk of money given to him, to Fudge here. Uncontested.
Yeah, Babbitt comes in and just snakes a bit of it, but Dream in the bottom lane, he's actually going to give himself the first tower here. 610 gold, 11 minutes, trying to replicate the same thing on top side, but
Tally's
I think Tally
cleared the
being
way.
here, he's actually cleared it out. Victor quite good at doing that very early into the game. Mammoth, though, transitioning their pressure from top lane to mid lane. Will get themselves a couple plates. Jake is here Swift is also coming to this mid lane. So overall, Order once again with the advantage.
And they give a bunch of money over to Destiny as well, as he's actually able to hit some turrets and get some gold stacks down. Still hasn't been able to evolve his support item, however, 12 minutes in. Doesn't feel too good as a Yuumi. He usually free fires her way through any type of laning phase. Still real waiting for those item breakpoints, I would say, across the board for everybody except for Triple on the side of Mammoth. Whereas when you look at Order, they've actually got those item breakpoints, and that to me is a major part of why, you know, in the current game state, Mammoth, they get the Herald, they have this really good opportunity to trade, but they still don't necessarily win that trade because they cannot face their opponents off. You know, even Tally able to just brute force his way into the top lane. Has the magical footwear, just so we can confirm it's not a futures market.
Yep, magical footwear, and also with those breakpoints, 15 seconds until Infernal. Order very much controlling this area, looking towards Raptors as well. That's taking everything on this side of the map. And it should be second Dragon over to them unless Mammoth are able to contest
And
this.
Tally's mid. He's become a mid laner for the moment. We've got Swiffer in top lane. Neither of them have teleport, but Swiffer does have the ult. And that is definitely a redeeming feature here for Order, as their focus is solely set towards the Dragon itself. You can see that Swiffer most likely going to sacrifice that turret if there's a contest for Mammoth and they want to go towards the Dragon, but they're not. So he's going to return to top. Now the only risk on the map is his health and Dreams.
Babbitt's on his way. This will be a 3-man collapse. Still pre-14. But going for this one, Triple will get the lockdown. Into stun onto Babbitt underneath his tower by himself now. Dream following up though. Here comes the Carthus ultimate. Culling is going to drop the Scanner low enough for that kill. Triple flashes after, gets the double tap. And Yuumi zoning this Lucian away. But he's going to get a lockdown onto this Yuumi, so just back towards Triple. Could have been worse there, but in the end, it's a 1-for-1.
Every single time that Mammoth look towards top to make the play, they're actually just met by a Carthus ultimate and constant resistance from their opponents in Order. And every single time they try and maybe they get a kill, they're still repelled from the objective itself, and they continue to amass small advantages here, Order. As every time they make a play, they actually get what they're after.
And this has actually opened up to a pretty sizable gold lead. Now here comes Jake though, right behind the tower, flips Triple, and Dreams was going to get that one. Actually, Jake does manage to find the kill there on the volley bear, but still 4 for 2 in kills with, what's that, a 4,000 gold lead here. Fudge is going to get some plates on the bottom side, trade on the top side. Now 5 seconds until they drop anyways. And here's Tally. Fudge will get a nice bit of harass onto the Victor, but he's now just behind the turret. The rest of the team is here though.
Thankfully, there's a lot of hovering from the rest of Mammoth to protect Fudge. If he was by himself there, that was a Twisted Fate ultimate locking him down. Most likely would have been the kill as well, given how far ahead it feels like both Tally and Swiffer are. Not against their respective opponents, but just pretty far ahead in the game state. Karma's gone for a very cheap build. Something that we noted earlier is that she could have perhaps gone from the Athenes into something a bit more AP
build
focused. Yeah, like a
case.
Luden's Echo. This time it does look like it's going to be the Ardent Sensor. So the cheap build, the cheaper 2-item spike, is something that, similar to an Ezreal, and actually something that, like, you know, Mammoth's composition is actually uniquely equipped for, is that they will spike at 2 items faster than any other team composition basically in the game. It's just so cheap. Now those items aren't hard scaling choices, so it does still feel like they may drop off a little bit, where Order will be pretty comfortable just sitting back and continuing to farm. But that's a really good opportunity for Mammoth to say, okay, we're definitely behind in this game. We've hit those spikes. Let's make something happen. Let's look at the map. Let's really get something going. You've got Infernal in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I would expect that this is the objective that Mammoth genuinely consider having to fight for. And hopefully they've got those item spikes by then.
Yeah, I'm trying to make up some of that gold differential with that initial spike. Taking a look at where that gold's gone though, you know, Carthus currently sat on multiple items, 6.5k over his opponent, so 1,500 there.
Yeah, most of it is through the jungler and through the AD carry positions here. King's still very far behind, but like highlighted, his item build cost doesn't mean it actually makes too much of a difference once we hit 2 items and Muramana is on board. Triple in a whole host of trouble. That's 2 teleports.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. Jake comes on the top side, doesn't have the Q still ticking, but will get the kill regardless. Dream chased after. That's a massive Ezreal ultimate. Carves through 3 of them. 2 kills over to Mammoth for the price of 1. And here's Jake trying to get away, but Fudge is here and locks him down with the Q spam. And that's 3 kills to Mammoth.
And Order, they look for the play top lane. They're going to continue to fight and try and break the mid lane turret, but Fudge and Babip are here. And there's a chance they're able to defend this one. and they will be able to. And that's Mammoth now with a 3-0-1 Aatrox, with the top lane turret falling, and with the gold lead that Order was steadily getting into their hands, just slightly gone amiss. And a big opportunity here for Mammoth to really bring that back for themselves. We see this again. The play-in concept is sound, but double teleports actually brings 3 people to this area, and then they just hit a sick combo. You know, the Aatrox hits his Qs as the Ezreal throws the ultimate out. It all connects at the same time, and that's the Mammoth that you know.
Yeah. Well played, set play into the top lane. Good reaction with the teleports, and Order just decided to commit to it. You know, felt like they had the tankiness. Volibear underneath the tower should be able to tank a fair amount, and doesn't work out.
Here is something that is important, however, from that trade. The byproduct of it is that no teleports are up for Mammoth at all. Order have all of theirs available, so they can control top lane, and most likely if you're Order, you slow the game down, you break the top lane outer turret for free. But right now they're accelerating, they're using the Twisted Fate ultimate. It seems like they really want to contest the vision for this Infernal. It's Order, they don't want to slow it down, they've stamped the foot down instead.
Yeah, Swiffer gating down, seeing we could find a potential pick there onto triple, had the gold card in hand, but not going to be the case. But yeah, there is a minion wave flooding in. Mammoth don't commit to it though. Looking for Order as they're in the river. They now transition out, and Spooks will also back up. Order prioritized the mid wave, and now Mammoth have actually started off the dragon.
But they will
swap
contest
position.
this. There's no way Order doesn't contest this. Spooks caught, he's in.
Yeah, he jumps all the way in, expecting to die. Goes into his passive, but Order gain control over the area. Babip in the back of the pit has to flash this one as he gets gold carded. Fudge still pushing up this river though, and it will go over to Order as it comes across Tag's Dream. A nice knockback there from Jake, stops the Skarner in his tracks. Fudge still gets the double knockup. There's the suppress into Yuumi ultimate. There's going to be major casualties here. Another kill. Tally, last man standing. That's the full ace for Mammoth.
And it's a triple kill for Fudge as well. Mammoth, they don't just get the re-engage, they re-engage off the re-engage of Order. They're able to get the ace. Now they're going to break the mid lane outer turret as well. And this game has just swung incredibly hard in the favor of Mammoth. 7-0-2 is the scoreline of Fudge here, the top laner of Mammoth, absolutely going berserk.
Yeah, definitely making it worthwhile. You can see that one again. Spooks flashes into the play, tries to get his passive immediately, and
so
Order do secure it.
That was 3 ultimates used, right, on the force away there from Mammoth. So the second they're able to get the re-engage here, it's really difficult for Order to come back from. Dream gets hit with the Ezreal ultimate once again. Fudge able to skirt his way through that gravity field, and it's just on from here. You know, the fact that they don't have the Karthus ultimate, they don't have the Victor ultimate, they don't even have the Lucian culling, all just completely a miss. Means that Mammoth, they sustain their way through, they hit the 2 item spikes on all of their champions with the cheap builds. That was the Infernal fight that they wanted, and Order said come and get it.
And so much of that gold going over to the Aatrox has completed 2 items now at the 20-minute mark. And this is a very different looking team from just a few minutes ago. That said, Order did manage to secure the dragon there, so they now do have 2 Infernals and still a good amount of scaling on their side. So you are looking later into the game, but you know, Mammoth getting more and more priority earlier onto the game and starting to make those aggressive plays, and see 4 people in the bottom side here. Fudge will get himself this tower, and they are able to take down all of these outer turrets.
For me, it's a case of the what-ifs. You know, that top lane outer turret could very easily have already been dead if Order choose to, you know, play just a little bit slower. Do you have to force the vision control of the dragon as hard as you did? I think it's fine for them with the 2 Infernals that they've secured. They have just straight up started this Baron at 20 minutes. Mammoth keenly aware of that fact. They've found Jake.
Yeah, he might just be the sacrificial bear, unfortunately, waiting in the brush. There's just a gatekeep, but now Order will back away from the Baron, lose their support, and in danger of maybe losing more as Mammoth are pushing into the jungle, see if they can find any stragglers.
Dream's being hunted.
Doesn't connect the Yuumi Q. King does connect his, though. But
That
yeah.
was going to be one of the most under-the-nose Baron attempts I think I've ever seen in League of Legends. That was, you know, 1,000 units away from the enemy jungler and support who were getting fished in that area. Jake's standing guard is just going to die as they all have to disengage. That was crazy. If that worked, that would have been insane.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those times where it's random enough that it may actually just work because it's just on the dot, you know? Getting flashbacks to Dan Gaming on the dot, 20-minute Barons.
Yeah, you check 15 seconds after, you're like, there's no way.
They wouldn't. They're 10k down.
Just scry it to be, oh god, it's got 2,000 health.
And they've got it. Yeah, sometimes we just go for it. Yeah, luckily Mammoth do check it out, see they're on it, get themselves a support kill while they're at it.
And a mid lane in a turret for it as well. So
Yeah.
the cost is still high for Mammoth. And you've mentioned this already, the double Infernals. The scaling is definitely there. I don't think they're upset with the game state, you would have to say, if you were Order. The one thing that you have to appreciate, though, is the class of Mammoth to be able to bring it back from the deficit that they were in. To even get to this state required good play from them. And they do exactly what is required of them to get those leads, and the mechanics to follow it up from King. Definitely finds himself as a clutch player all the time, as that's a teleport from just King.
Yeah, just getting back onto the map here. 2 items completed here from Swiffer, including the rapid fire cannon, which is a big deal for Twisted Fate.
And I really like what Mammoth are doing here, Pulse. They've brought Fudge to the plate. They've got their 7-0 Aatrox around to force priority in the enemy jungle. They're going to clear vision with Fudge here. They're going to make it nearly impossible for Order to contest as Tally goes bot lane. And while he has the teleport, and while the cost of what Mammoth is doing is that they'll have to deal with bot lane eventually, this is still a great moment for them to force as 5, get that vision control, and then really try and make it difficult for Order to get it back.
Yeah, triple on vision here. Spooks is potentially looking for it, but still just rotating back into this mid lane. And now we have a bit of a stare down. Baron spawns, and it's about getting that vision and control over the area. We can say, take a look at the gold, and that is 11k for the Aatrox. Obviously very far ahead of pretty much everybody else on the board.
It is huge. That's exactly what you want to see from Fudge. You know, first split in the OPL, just became of age. Don't let his size fool you, even though he's a big boy.
Yep. First split, putting in some work. Mammoth actually starting off this dragon though. It will be their first mountain of the game, and yeah, Order not prioritizing it, still sitting on top side. Basically, dragon exchange for vision control over the area for Order.
A
Sticking
worthwhile
around.
exchange, though. You know, 2 mountains would be nice to have, and getting a mountain away from Mammoth would always be a win. But having that Baron control is a greater deal, especially when you're just looking to, I would say, prolong the game. You know, it's something that the ball is not in their court, but they can return it very hard.
They can make their own ball as the game goes on.
They can. They've really revolutionized the tennis reference I was going for there.
I don't know how sports work, to be honest. Watch those esports. I know about those traditional sports. Fudge in a side lane. No one can really take him in a 1v1, but you can delay him if you're Twisted Fate, just staying at range, chucking out cards, clearing out the minion wave.
Yeah, Aatrox can't really hit the turret.
Yeah.
That much is true. And, you know, Twisted Fate now is doing physical adaptive damage, so his Q damage isn't actually that high. Probably take 2 of them to even consider trimming the range minions at this point. The real threat in this game lies exactly where Mammoth is standing, and that is where both teams are focusing all of their priorities right now. It's mid priority, it is red side jungle quadrant vision control, and set up for Baron. Sooner or later, a team will say, let's just take the plunge, let's just do the Baron again. But at the moment, what you would look for first is a pick. Is there something that can enable us, that can set us up to just get the Baron even more free, or, you know, force the rest of the team to come? So say Jake dies getting vision, well now Spooks has to face check everything, and then he dies. And then suddenly with 2 people dead, no way to contest, Baron's free.
Yeah, Jake stepping up. He's still a pretty tanky volley bear. You can see the Skarner tax has been paid by both Dream and Jake in the form of their QSSs.
Karthus doesn't have to pay the Skarner tax, he wants it. Except for this time, he definitely doesn't want it right now. What I mean is he wants it in a 5v5 fight. Come and get me, ult me in. You waste your ultimate on a Karthus. Karthus wants to die and deal DPS anyway. As Mammoth, they have actually started the Baron. King just presses E on the spot. He's got it back, don't worry.
It's all good. Yeah, hops the wall. And this is out of vision. Destiny's going to be used here from the Twisted Fate. We'll spot them. Jake stepping up to the pit. And Spooks is here. It's going to have to be a steal. He doesn't have flash, remember, from that previous play. So what's he going to do? It has to be a lay waste over the wall. And Mammoth just step up and take it.
Yeah, no flash, no blast cone to get him over to actually hit the smite. Throws a skittle, so it's definitely not a 50-50. And it's just a good smite from Babbitt at around 600 HP. The DPS was consistent. And now they've got the Baron buff. The map is their oyster. They have opportunities to push anywhere they would like on Summoner's Rift. They've already set up vision control on the red side quadrant of Order's area. So I would expect that is the most likely place that they choose to go. As he doesn't quite get that blue buff, but he does find Spooks.
Very close, though. But yeah, you know, that is the major difference here for Mammoth. You know, like these first two teams that we've seen in the Gauntlet, Direwolves and Bombers, we've seen the 50-50 Barons, the 50-50 objectives, but that was like a 95-5 play right there from Mammoth. Burn the flash from the carpet. He can't flash over and steal. It's literally like it has to be a random skull shot over the wall, and they can't push down ramp. So
which, you know, in
it's
theory,
just a secured Baron.
it's in your own hands, right?
Yeah.
That's what they wanted, Mammoth. That's how they want to play this game. They want to control it. They don't want to play to Order's style. They're not going to get thrown into the chaos. They're going to play their own game of League, and especially when ahead. And that, to me, is the scary thing here. Because this may change the type of game that we see from Order in terms of draft. You know, if Mammoth have proven that with a single teamfight lead, they can slow the map down to play their own style of League perfectly, and Order don't have the response, then things actually quickly have to adapt. So far, I would say so good from Mammoth. Now, remember that Order still have scaling. They definitely still have the late game teamfight possibility with the casters with the Victor. But it's not as clear-cut as we outscale, we win a team fight. It's still hard to execute. Skill shots have to hit from every individual member of this team. And Mammoth still have a lot of threat late game.
Yeah, you know, Ezreal's got a lot of room to grow, and take a look at the kill distribution. 3 on Ezreal, still 7 on Aatrox, who is 3.5 items. So you're going to have to get through that first before anything else. And top lane tower goes down. Now looking towards this inhibitor turret line. We've got 3 members in Order.
He doesn't have wave clear. He's an AD Twisted Fate. This turret's just been smacked. Spooks is here. But I don't think even 4 people can stop this. They need to bring the zone control of a Victor if they have any hopes of defending it. So it's just gone.
There's actually so much threat from this lineup of Mammoth. Enough that they can push them back behind their own inhibitor turret, take down that inhib as well while they're at it. Now looking towards this mid lane, and you know, it feels like that tower line should be harder to break, but Mammoth are running over this one. Order may have to see this. It's about trying to slow down Mammoth here. They've got maybe another wave left them on the Baron.
Babib just goes walkabout, tanks 2 turret shots for the sake of it, but he does chat it up in the mid lane, forces Order back a little bit as they respect him, and now this turret being broken. Spook's already low HP, they're going.
Yeah, Babib toying with the idea of going in, but waits too long. Has to flash away, Redemption comes out, and the culling pins out the wave here. Order do pull off the defense here on this middle inhibitor tower. Dream, that was a little close for comfort, but he's going to be okay. But now Skarner, no flash.
Yeah, Skarner no flash means the ultimate is even harder to hit. Dream still has his QSS, so there's no real chance of locking him down. It would have just been a bunch of slows from the rest of Mammoth. They'll be able to disengage very nicely and very successfully towards the Mountain Dragon. They don't break mid. There's not an insignificant amount of healing from Mammoth, but the damage to their health bars was significant enough. They'll choose to disengage, and Order only losing the single inhibitor, losing the one closest to Baron as well. Not too bad of an outcome for them, honestly, as the map state is concerned, given that they couldn't contest the Baron at all.
Could have been a lot worse for Order. Very much still in this game, but just need time, and time is coming to them. Unfortunately, 2 minutes until this next Baron. 4 items now completed, including the Guardian Angel from that Aatrox. Bottom lane, similar story. 3 items plus QSS has been picked up by King here.
Yeah, and you know, the thing worth noting, Pulse, is while it's 2 minutes still Baron, it's really 1 minute until you have to start Baron, or start dealing with Baron at all. You know, getting a ward down, getting a cheeky ward in a position that may not be checked down as well. That requires some deep vision and extra thought, as they're going hard on mid.
Yeah, Babib looking for it, but once again, a great knockback there by Jake. Dream dashes away. He'll have to flash as well. Ezreal ultimate goes wide. But now they've just opened up this mid lane even without Baron, and they will get themselves their second inhibitor.
Should be a free inhibitor here as well. Order very unlikely to contest that one as it's already too low. Mammoth now with an opportunity to look for the bot lane in a turret, but note that Swiffer during all of this time is not even remotely close to the area. He is pushing top lane. He's looking at the inner. He's going to recall now. It seems that the threat of Mammoth staying bottom is too high, and that's fair. Instead, maybe looking at Spooks again.
Yeah, they tag him with the Yumi Q, and Jake just disappears. No passer to be seen. Fudge is just running rampant in the backline here. We'll go into his Guardian Angel. Requiem in response, but look at the shield on Babib. Just tanked all of that damage. They will eventually get the Aatrox and the shutdown gold as well over to Dream. He returns the culling. And overall, it's a 2-for-1.
Yeah, good shutdown given over to the side of Order, but really it's still a lot of base broken. It's a lot of control on the map still ceded over to their opponents. And this is all 25 seconds before that Baron is up and available. So good timing on the reset here from Mammoth. It probably won't be a Baron started on spawn if Order are ready to contest it. They might want to get some wards down first, Mammoth.
I'll say that's the most absurd shield I've ever seen on Babip. I don't know if you caught it. He was on 20% and it was like shield all the way back to almost full health. It was ridiculous.
It's a death cap from the Karma as well as the third item, which is definitely the way to go here. You want as much AP as possible so you can shield as much as possible. You know, it's not just about the damage that you can deal. Jake's going to spot the Baron. It's at 10,000 HP. 2 Mountain Dragons accelerates this, so it'll be done very quickly. Spooks in the area, no flash, so no contest to be seen.
Yeah, no flash, no Carthus, no smite, and that will be the second Baron over to Mammoth. It looks like it's getting closer and closer to a victory here for Mammoth, even after that early game. You know, Order, great start to this one, but in true Mammoth fashion, absorb the pressure, counterpunch, and here we are, 3,000 gold lead now to Mammoth with their second Baron. And Jake looking for a potential pick onto Fudge in a side lane.
Fudge is aware, but if Order can see the minions at all, they would see it's Baron empowered, so they know he's still nearby. Only Tally shows himself. All of Mammoth is collapsing as well, though.
He just needs to buy time here, Fudge. All of Order collapse onto this Aatrox. They get the shutdown once again, but Mammoth are here looking for a fight. 5 versus 4. They get the suppress down, and Tally's dead. In goes Jake once again, but he's just blown up as Mammoth are coming back, and they have not sustained any injuries whatsoever. King is doing so much damage. Flashes the wall, trying to cut them off before they can get to the base. Swiffer low. Here comes a Yumi Q. Dream tries to trade, but he's exhausted and dead. Triple kill and quadra kill for the Ezreal.
Yeah, 4 for King. Teleports into the base. He's going to end the game right here and now, and Mammoth, they'll start this best-of-5 series against Order with a very convincing closeout after a shaky early game start.
Mammoth very much living up to their name right here. Second seed. Going to be a very different best-of-5 to what the Order lineup have faced so far in the Direwolves and Bombers. And game 1 will go over to Mammoth.
And all it really felt like it took Pulse was that single victory at the Infernal Dragon. You know, something worth noting is they were almost 5,000 gold down at a certain point there. And even with that 5k deficit, you know, they hit the item spikes, they look for the Infernal Dragon, Order say, this is the Infernal that wins us the game. And they take the opportunity to, you know, step up in the area, push them away from it, but unfortunately in the process of pushing them away, Mammoth get the re-engage, and that one teamfight victory felt like the easy snowball from them from there because they slowed the game down. They said, we're going to play Mammoth League of Legends, and they didn't give Order an inch.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you said as well, right? Like, they were looking for their specific spike that they had even 4k down. It's like, well, now this has to be it here at the Infernal Dragon. That being said, I feel like Order did open themselves up to that situation, right? They could have played it slower. They could have just knocked down top tower, but instead they were like, no, we're going to fight. We're going to go for this one. We're going to go towards Dragon. And likewise, they followed up with another aggressive play. They immediately go towards Baron. You know, they try and up-tempo the game versus Mammoth, and they just like, no. We're going to slow this game down. We're going to play at our pace. And that was just so different, right? Like we spoke to Fantix at the start of the game, so different to what we've seen so far from the other teams going up against Order, and this may be the strategy.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, can you blame Order? It's a second Infernal. Of course, you want to look at that, right? You've got the Karthus composition. The more damage you have, the better you're going to be, but the cost of that was too high. So in retrospect,
way too high.
Maybe not the way you want to execute it, but I still cannot fault the idea.
All right, we're going to take a short break before we get into the rest of this best-of-5, so stay tuned.
Triple in a whole host of trouble. That's 2 teleports.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. Jake comes into the top side. Doesn't have the Q still ticking, but will get the kill regardless. Dream chased after. That's a massive Ezreal ultimate. Carves through 3 of them. 2 kills over to Mammoth for the price of 1. And here's Jake trying to get away, but Fudge is here.
But they will
swap
contest
position.
this. There's no way Order doesn't contest this. Spook's caught, he's in.
Yeah, he jumped all the way in, expecting to die. Goes into his passive, but Order gain control over the area. Babip in the back of the pit has to flash this one as he gets goal carded. Fudge still pushing up this river though, and it will go over to Order as also it comes across Tag's Dream. A nice knockback there from Jake, stops the Skarner in his tracks. Fudge still gets the double knockup. There's the suppress into Yumi ultimate. There's going to be major casualties here. Another kill. Tally, last man standing.
All of Mammoth is collapsing as well though.
He just needs to buy time here, Fudge. All of Order collapse onto this Aatrox. They get the shutdown once again, but Mammoth are here looking for a fight.
They
5
want the
versus
fight.
4. They get the suppress down, and Tally's dead. In goes Jake once again, but he's just blown up as Mammoth are back, and they have not sustained any injuries whatsoever. King is doing so much damage, flashes the wall, trying to cut him off before they can get to the base. Swiffer low. Here comes a Yumi Q. Dream tries to trade, but he's exhausted and
The 5 series against Order with a very convincing closeout after a shaky early game start.
Mammoth very much.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Enjoy a delicious small cheeseburger meal with your choice of an apple or raspberry and custard pie for just $4.
Okay, Mammoth taking game number 1. Order looking really clean there in the early game, but then one, potential overstep, and Mammoth so fast to shut it down and take
Well, I
control.
think it was 2, right? Like you saw it just in that highlights package there. Like early game going this well hasn't actually